we can get you up and we can get our next guest in there. Our next guest needs no introduction, but actually he does because most of you are listening on the radio and you have no idea.
Right.
You can't see him.
Can't see him.
So we will actually introduce him to you. However, I believe that I have been in a film with his daughter, Billy Busch. Welcome to Big 550 KTRS. How are you?
Good morning, McGraw. I'm doing well, thank you. And Kelly.
Your daughter was in a couple of Jay Kanzler films, right? Is that
That's
right?
correct, yes.
Okay, yeah, so I worked with Jay Kanzler. We need to talk off the air about what a troublemaker he is.
Billy, he thinks he's like an A-list star now, Hollywood
Yeah, well,
star.
whatever it takes.
He did play the mayor, though.
I remember that movie. I thought you did a great job, by the way, McGraw.
Thank you.
Marshall's Miracle was the name of it.
See, very smart man, Billy Busch is. All right, let's talk about Craftig. You started Craftig how long ago?
In 2011, we rolled out with Craftig and Craftig Light. And
the goal was you saying there was no Busch brewing beer anymore, and you thought that was a tragedy. A tragedy.
Exactly right. For 150 years, our family was brewing beer. It started back with my great-grandfather, Adolphus Busch, in the mid-1800s, and it continued all the way up until 2008 when that ended because InBev bought out Anheuser-Busch.
Right.
And my family, my wife Christy and the kids and me, we got together and we said, let's keep this wonderful tradition going and write chapter 2 of the Busch brewing legacy.
You didn't start a craft brewery. This was a different type of, right? Everyone's starting craft breweries. This was not a craft beer.
Yeah, I was crazy enough to get involved in the mainstream part of the industry, and that's competing against the giants of the industry. So we're competing against Budweiser, we're competing against Coors and Miller, and with Craftig, but we do have a point of difference. We follow the German purity process.
How's it going?
It's going very well. We've just rolled out in the rest of Missouri, so now we're in all of Missouri. We're in Kansas City. We're up in northern Missouri. That was our latest rollout. And we're also down in South Texas and a little bit of Illinois.
And talk about the purity part of this, because that's sort of your mark of demarcation there.
Exactly, yeah. That is our point of difference. We follow the German purity law, which dates back to 1516. It's called Reinheitsgebot, so we don't use preservatives or food colorings in our beer. We only use 4 ingredients. It's very natural, very pure, and that's why it tastes so great and why we're winning all these medals in beer competitions.
And it's all made here?
We're actually brewing right now. We run a brewery up in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and our company is based here in St. Louis, but our goal is to build a brewery here in St. Louis.
This is a long-term goal for you.
It certainly is.
So it isn't like, at some point, because it takes a lot of money to get something like this off the ground. You're in it for the long haul.
I am in it for the long haul. I have 7 kids, so I hope to pass it down to my kids and keep it going for another, generations to come, like our first company did.
I was in Germany and I was in Bavaria, and it makes a lot more sense when you go and visit Bavaria and come back to St. Louis. When the German immigrants came over, that's all they do in Bavaria is brew beer and eat pretzels. So you think to yourself, boy, how smart were they to start beer companies? But that's all they knew, right?
Well, that's all they knew, and that's why they brewed such great beer over there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, so now you're also in the news because you and your brothers and sisters are in a bit of a squabble. Now, when I fight with my sisters, no one knows about it. When you fight with your brothers and sisters, it's front page news. Where are we with Grant's Farm, and what are you saying publicly?
Well, I think it's front page news because of Grant's Farm. Everybody knows Grant's Farm. Everybody loves Grant's Farm. All of St. Louis does. It's been open to the public since 1954, so I get it. People really are concerned on what is going to happen to Grant's Farm. So currently we have 2 offers in on the place. My 4 brothers and sisters recently put an offer in to buy Grant's Farm. I've had an offer in for almost a year now to purchase Grant's Farm. The zoo was involved for a while. They back in March pulled their offer off the table. We had a hearing the other day on Tuesday. So right now it's in the court's hands on what's going to happen with Grant's Farm, as well as the disinterested trustee of Grant's Farm, which is Wells Fargo. I think eventually they will make the decision on who's going to be able to buy Grant's Farm.
Are your sisters and brothers who you're suing or countersuing, are you still on their Christmas card list? I mean, what is Christmas dinner like at the Busch family?
Right. Well, you know what? We're still close. We're still brothers and sisters. We understand that this is kind of a business decision at this point. We're in a disagreement, of course, But, at the end of the day, we're still getting along.
Yeah.
But it must be kind of bizarre to have it in the public forum, so publicly.
Well, it is kind of a soap opera, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah.
It is public, but again, there's a reason for that because it is Grant's Farm. And I think everybody's just trying to do what they feel is the best thing to do with the place. I have a 10-year comprehensive business plan which shows it's sustainable. We can keep Grant's Farm open to the public for years to come and intact. I plan to maintain that Busch legacy out there, to build a small demonstration brewery on the place and to tell that wonderful story of the Busch history on Grant's Farm with writing chapter 2 of the Busch brewing tradition with Kräftig is a great story.
You want to build a Kräftig? Is it what did you call it? I thought it was a full-fledged brewery. What'd you call it?
More of a demonstration brewery.
Right.
So it would be a smaller brewery because I wouldn't want to take up too much room at Grant's Farm with a big factory. It would be a smaller brewery that people could walk through, experience how our beer is made,
right,
and even have fresh samples of beer there for the folks that come through Grant's Farm.
Would the beer be free, and would we only have to get 2 per visit? Is
Absolutely.
That right? All right, so the same rules apply then.
Yes,
is
sir.
what you're saying. But the family still has a house there. And the house would still is outside of all this arguing, right?
Well, right now the house is we're separating the 198 acres, which the tours come through and get to enjoy. The public does, and then there's 22 acres that contains the big house, and we're separating those two out, the 22 acres from the 198. So right now we're talking about buying. I'm talking about buying the 198. And all of us, my brothers and sisters and me, be involved in the 22 acres. Of course, I've given to my brothers and sisters ways of staying in the 198, meaningful ways of being a part of that, too, because I'd like to see them be a part of that.
Yeah. While we let you go here, Billy Busch, you mentioned Kräftig and Kräftig Light winning a whole bunch of awards. What awards have they won recently?
Well, recently we won the LA International as well as the Denver International, 2 gold medals, which are, great competition. There's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of beers that are entered into these competitions, and we keep winning them, and I think that's a testament to how great our beer is, the quality of it, and the taste of it.
Billy Busch, I'll work and act with your daughter anytime. She's a great actress, and she's got a lot going for her. So us actors have to stick together.
You betcha. Thanks, McGraw.
All
Thanks,
right.
Kelly.
Billy Busch and Kräftig Beer and the latest from Grant's Farm. 726 here, Big 550.